Cop brutalizes elderly black woman in mall seconds later. She tells him she owns the building. The mall hummed with the chaos of a Saturday afternoon, voices overlapping like a storm. But in that corridor, time froze as a scream sliced through the noise. Esther Monroe, 72, stood trembling, her silver cane tapping the floor like a metronome of defiance. A police officer, badge gleaming, towered over her, his face twisted with rage, shouting words that cut deeper than any blade. "You don't belong here," he bellowed, shoving her frail frame against the glass of a storefront. The crowd gasped, phones raised, capturing the brutality unfolding under the mall's sterile lights. Esther's eyes, weathered by decades of struggle, held no fear. She had faced worse Jim Crow signs, whispered slurs, doors slammed in her face. But this was 2025, and the sting of prejudice still burned. Her heart pounded, not from the officer's grip on her arm, but from the fire igniting within her. She straightened, her voice steady as steel. "Son, you're standing in my mall." The officer froze, his hand hovering midair. "I own this building." The crowd fell silent, the air thick with disbelief. Officer Daniel Carter, a man hardened by years of unchecked power, scoffed. "You own this?" He gestured at the sprawling, complex glass walls, marble floors, designer stores. To him, Esther was just an old woman, her gray braids and modest coat a stark contrast to the wealth around her. He laughed, a cruel bark, and tightened his grip. "Step out of line again, and you're done." Esther's lips curled into a quiet smile, the kind that carried the weight of a lifetime. She reached into her purse, pulling out a worn leather folder. The crowd leaned closer as she opened it, revealing a deed, crisp and undeniable. Her name, Esther Monroe, was printed in bold across the top, alongside the title to Westview Mall. Murmurs rippled through the onlookers. Carter's face drained of color, his bravado crumbling like dry clay. 40 years ago, Esther had been a seamstress, stitching dreams in a cramped apartment while raising 3 kids alone. She saved every penny, invested in small properties, and clawed her way up in a world that told her she'd never belong. When Westview Mall faced bankruptcy, she bought it, piece by piece, turning it into a beacon of community. She walked its halls daily, not as a boast, but to feel the pulse of her legacy. Yet to Carter, she was just another face to profile, another body to control. "You think you know me?" Esther said, her voice rising, cutting through the tension like a blade. "You see my skin and assume I'm nothing. But this," she tapped the deed with a trembling finger, "this is mine. And you, officer, are trespassing on my peace." The crowd erupted, some cheering, others whispering, their phones still recording. Carter's jaw clenched, his authority unraveling. He'd responded to a call about a suspicious person loitering near the luxury stores. Suspicious. The word stung Esther, a reminder of how her presence, her very existence, was still questioned in spaces she'd built. A young woman, maybe 20, pushed through the crowd, her eyes blazing. "Let her go," she shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. Others joined, their voices a chorus of outrage. Carter stepped back, his hand dropping, but his pride wouldn't let him retreat fully. "This isn't over," he muttered, turning away as his radio crackled with a supervisor's voice. Esther didn't flinch. She smoothed her coat, her dignity unshaken. "It's over when I say it is," she said softly, but her words carried the weight of a gavel. The crowd parted as she walked toward the mall's central atrium, her cane clicking with purpose. She wasn't just an owner. She was a symbol of resilience, a testament to what it meant to rise above hate. Later, in the mall's management office, Esther sat with her lawyer, a sharp woman named Lena who'd grown up in the same neighborhood. They reviewed the incident, the video now viral on X, sparking hashtags and debates. "We'll press charges," Lena said, her voice firm. But Esther shook her head. "No, I want him to learn, not burn." She'd seen too many lives ruined by vengeance. Instead, she requested Carter attend a community forum at the mall, where voices like hers could teach him what his badge couldn't. The forum came a week later. Carter stood stiffly, facing a room of diverse faces, black, white, young, old, all united by Esther's story. She spoke last, her voice steady but warm. "This mall is for everyone," she said. But it took me fighting to remind you all of that. Don't let hate win. Build something better. Carter's eyes dropped, shame flickering across his face. For the first time, he saw her not as a threat, but as a force. Esther's story spread beyond the mall, a beacon of hope in a fractured world. She didn't just own a building. She owned her truth, and in that moment, she reclaimed the narrative. The mall thrived, not just as a place of commerce, but as a space where humanity could heal, one step, one voice, one truth at a time. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.